Stella, how are you?
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good, good. I'm just a random Zoom bomber to see how everything is going.
Yeah, nice.
So,
Thanks. Abby should be here soon. I told her like 15 minutes before, but
okay.
she should be getting on any minute. I'm just texting her now.
So I have the poll in place. So whenever you guys
Yeah.
want me to launch that.
Can I just share my screen really quick just so you know what that looks like, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I just made you co-host. Yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So literally this is, no, am I sharing it correctly?
Yep.
Okay, so that's our introduction. And I mean, you can't miss it. It just says poll.
And then I'll send it out. I'll make it live.
Yeah, and there's like 3 questions or four.
Looks like it looks like there's four.
There's four. Okay. And then so like after they answer every poll question, are you the one who's going to like be able to like share the results with everyone too?
I believe so. This is
Okay.
my first time doing a poll on here, so we're gonna learn together.
Yeah,
We'll make it work.
honestly, it's
Yeah.
nothing crazy. And then I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah.
We just want this to be interactive, so
I like it.
no worries. I'm just gonna try to cancel out of a few things, make sure I have everything that I need on here.
Now I'm asking everybody, where in Pennsylvania are you?
So I'm in Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
So is Gabby. We work together, but we've worked at other universities before. So
I went to Slippery Rock University.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so like we're north, but
I played basketball there, and I always tell the story because we always opened up against Pittsburgh to start the season. Sorry, I'm just reading an email. Yeah, so I always Pittsburgh's. I like the little city. It's great. I like going there for sporting events too. The baseball stadium's awesome.
see what happens this year.
I'm a big football fan, so I can't say anything about your Steelers, but
Where are you based right now?
I'm in DC.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I'm not originally from Pittsburgh. Gabby's born and raised here. I'm from Jersey.
Okay.
I lived in Delaware, so I have cousins all over the Maryland, D.C. area too. So
Right.
um,
Very nice.
yeah, so it's yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, so what I can do is your session obviously starts at 2. So what I'm going to do is just admit people as they come in. So you guys don't have to worry about anything. I'll make sure that they're all muted as they come in. Just let them know if they have questions to unmute themselves or use the chat box as needed. But I'm just going to kind of fade. If you don't see me, if my screen is off, I'm still here. I'm just kind of doing emails and stuff. So if you have questions, you just say my name. I'll pop back in. But whatever I can do to make it easy for you.
yeah, no worries. I did a session this morning. We had about 35, 40 people in there.
Great.
Somebody I presented with, she had a session yesterday and she had 8. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's on average I've seen about 25-ish from the 3 that I've done so far. So
for this conference. Wow.
Yeah. So give or take a few.
Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good. I'm with Revolution Prep. I'm here to be your tech support here.
Oh,
so
great.
I'm gonna make you co-host as well, but I will manage your poll and everything like that. I'll admit everybody, so you guys don't have to worry about anything. You guys can just focus on talking and take care of whatever you need. As I told Stella, if you don't see me on the screen, I'm still here. I'm just doing emails and stuff. So if you just say, Matt, we need help, I'll pop back in and I'll help as needed. But I'm still here. I'll still be admitting people even if you don't see me visually and such.
Okay.
All right. So I'll let people in like 10 minutes. You guys can, have your time to talk or sort out whatever you need. I'll just be here kind of a stalker in the background, I guess, listening in. I'll try not to.
That's awesome. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I guess so. You're in Pittsburgh as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was getting the whole rundown. I'm asking everybody where they're from and all of that good stuff. I'm in DC, so I'm not in Pennsylvania.
Very nice.
This is our 3rd conference that we've helped host so far. Because we did, you guys are PACAC. We've done PACAC.
Okay.
and we've done NIACAC or
Oh,
NIAC
New York.
or yeah.
Yeah.
There's
wow.
there's so many ACACs.
Oh,
So many.
Telling
So we're-
us.
yeah. So we're hosting, so we always step in. I'm an advisor for the company and such. But we always step in to help with the IT stuff, and it's funny because I have no IT background, so I do very little amount. I can admit people and mute people. That's about all you're getting from me.
That's awesome. Hey, you're an important part, though.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
You're an
He
important
said that
part.
he has the poll stuff for us. He'll
great.
try it and everything. I mean, honestly, it's really just to get like engagement. If we have to ask or whatever, if things don't work, like it's fine. I think we're all trying new things here. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
And Stella, do you have that disclaimer?
I do. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, because I was trying to. Was it in the email?
It's in the email. Yeah, like
Is it? Okay.
and then it's at the bottom. It's about Act 38 or something like that.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I was overlooking it. We got so many emails.
Barry didn't even see it this morning, and I said, I think they want us to read it. So it took like 2 seconds.
Okay.
I guess what we can do is like, I could just say like hello and introduce them to the session, and then tell them like, I guess who we're targeting, like who the session is for, and like what's beneficial. And then I'll read it, and then I guess I can have you then start to introduce yourself, and then I'll share screen. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that works.
That sounds fine. So yeah, I think I knew I had a lot of material for the 1 to 10, so I'm not surprised that they went over. I think we're going to be fine on time.
I think so.
A little under or whatever, but
I'm kind of hoping we get like we kind of did this on purpose so we could have a lot of questions and answer sessions. You know,
it's
afterwards.
this is the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the presenters all across the board, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of us from Pittsburgh. It's like us in Pitt and Upper St. Clair and Julie Sitko from Moon.
Yes, Julie.
I really think that's it. Have you seen anybody else?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I mean, and that's good then that like, we're getting our
representation. Yeah,
I know there's somebody else that's not from like, it wasn't Barry, but it was someone else from the University of Pittsburgh admissions team. I think they're
okay. Gotcha.
I was looking at the session topics. I'm honestly like, I would hope that Debbie goes to another one because I'd really love to hear what they're doing. Like one is about like going online for visits and stuff, and I'm like, dude, if I wasn't presenting, I'd listen.
No, I swear I was thinking the same thing, because there's one I think also on like literally enrollment management with like territories and like strategically planning areas, and I'm like, I wish you could go to that one.
All of these are going to be put on the PACAC website tomorrow. So all the presentations. Okay. So you can even tell your people that are joining, because a lot of times it's like, hey, can you email me the slide deck and such? And you can let them know that, hey, give it 24 hours and all the presentations. So if you miss something or want ours to go to the website, it's like 24 hours is what Andy told us. So every single presentation will be broken up as needed. And then you guys, as you're just discussing,
that's great.
Listen and watch whatever you like.
Oh, Stella, we should definitely bring that up at the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, so that people could watch, because I didn't see anybody except for Debbie at my session today. So like, and I know Jeff said he was gonna be.
Oh yeah, Jeff did say that.
So I don't know if anything, I feel like they'll do a pop in real quick, but then they'll leave, because again, like they could just watch the recording of us. Like
right.
They should probably go to another session if they want to ask questions. So.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we definitely should. But yeah, she emailed me. She was like, "You did a great job." I was like,
she's so funny. I emailed her yesterday about a student, and no, it was today's Tuesday. Yeah, so it had to have been yesterday. And she said, "Oh, good luck tomorrow." But it was like in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, I'll probably talk to you before then." And we've had like 5 emails since then.
Too funny. I'm glad that we're wrapping. I'm kind of like that. I did both of them in a day.
Yeah, knock them out.
Knock them out. That's all.
It's a lot. Kudos. I give you props.
Barry was like, "Oh my gosh, like you're doing 2 of them," and I was like, "Well, yeah," but I think I don't know. I felt like at a conference, if we were there in person, maybe it'd be a little I don't know. I've never.
It'd be more nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, because of what Jennifer said about how many she had at her in attendance at her session, like I'm figuring 8 to what I had this morning of 35, somewhere in that realm.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just curious, like overall, like I know Chatham isn't in attendance. I know St. Vincent isn't in attendance. I'm just curious, like, I think Eastern PA is going to be a big population we're going to see where a lot of these people are coming from.
Yeah, that's what I noticed this morning too, because especially because COVID hit them more than
right.
us. They're looking like completely like, traveling is just not something that they're going to do. So, not saying we're going to do it either, but that was a lot of the questions this morning, like how do you sponsor tour if they're online? And Barry's already been doing them. So I wonder if Debbie's going to have us start to do that too. So yeah. I think the 2 people who are actually in the waiting room were at the session. I don't know if they're PACAC members, because I know they probably have spread out PACAC members to watch these as well.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we aren't saying anything crazy.
Right.
Go off the rails.
Standing room only.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well,
Do you want me to let them in right at 2:00, or did you guys want like a 2-minute buffer for them to come in and you guys can talk?
They gave us like a 2-minute buffer before, and like I know people are going to start to still come in, so like that'd probably be appreciated to just made out a little bit, especially because like they're having other sessions too throughout the day, like not just like the educational sessions. Like I don't know if Joe's been attending. Like
I don't know.
Because it's on the schedule, and I was like, oh, right. And like, they're having something after this, so yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of still staying with their original agenda, even though everything's virtual, they're still keeping a lot of the agenda the same.
Yeah, which like kudos to them, because all the other conferences I was supposed to go to got canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could have done NJCAC like this, because like they did so many other ones, but they just canceled. But CIVSA, I felt like that one was just too big that they couldn't go for.
Did they cancel CIVSA?
They did, yeah.
Okay. That was June. Was that June?
That was the first week of June, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So this would have been my last like presentation round. I would have done New Jersey, and then I would have done the CIVSA, and then I would have done this at the end of June.
Yeah. Did they was Slate canceled too? I'm assuming it was
canceled. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we weren't. I think Janine was like the only one that was going to go from our office, and the rest would have been EMG people.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think I asked Emma, and she said they were canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, because like you're bringing people from all over the country,
right? In one area. Yeah.
And I'm sure Slate could have gone virtual at some, but like Slate has so many. Like they brought the Blue Man Group when I was there. Like they go over the top for their conference, so I think they just didn't want to like take away from that. So
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, so we'll see. All right, so 3. I feel like this will definitely be a little bit lower than the one this morning, but there's a lot of sessions that are happening right now that I think maybe people are
just like transitioning.
Right. Or like people, like I saw it happen in my other one, like people, I don't know if like they saw half that session and then they came in, or like vice versa. I don't know if they're all going to be recorded anyway, but let's see. I'll give them another minute or so.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of times, honestly, within the first 5 minutes is when you're going to get the majority of people. Nobody likes to show up on time for anything, so
yeah.
You can extend your intro for a few minutes and know that you're just going to keep hearing the beep for a while.
Yeah.
It's a nice little beep. It's nothing too crazy.
Yeah. There we go. 7, 8. It's awesome. I don't know.
All right. I'll start letting them in. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are coming in. Hi, everybody. We're just gonna wait for like a minute or so and let other people come in. All right. Well, I think I don't hear the beep right now. I'm not saying I won't hear it in another minute or so. But should we get started, Gabby?
Sure.
Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Stella Santos. I'm going to do formal introductions and everything in a minute, but I just want to read the PACAC message to you all, just so that you guys are aware of everything. So if you need Act 48 credit for the session, please complete the Act 48 request form, which will be available at the bottom of the conference landing page. Please remember to complete a session evaluation at the conclusion of today's session. This form can be found at the bottom of the conference landing page. There's also a main conference survey to be completed at the end of conference on Tuesday. Thank you. So, guys, just go ahead and please fill that out if you have time. So like I said before, if anyone new, welcome to our session. My name is Stella Santos. I'm an assistant director of admissions at Duquesne University. I've been here for about 3 years. Gabby and I are going to present to you our session title is called Life in Admissions. We really want to talk to people who may be a little bit newer to the profession. And if you have tons of experience and want to be here anyway, we would definitely welcome you and encourage you to share your experience as well. And Duquesne is located in the Pittsburgh area too. And yeah, we're just happy to be here. And I'll let Gabby go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for attending our session today. I know you had a lot of options for this time frame, so we really appreciate you choosing to listen in on our session. Like Stella said, I'm also an assistant director of undergraduate admissions at Duquesne. I'm a newbie though. I've been at Duquesne for, oh gosh, it'll be 10 months next month. So I'm kind of in a unique role being new to a university, but not new to admission. So we have a great presentation, and with both of our backgrounds, I think we'll have a lot of substantial material for you to kind of take note and learn from it, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. As this being last PACAC session and everything too, we encourage you to use the chat and, really tell us your experiences as well and things that might have helped you. We're all kind of here to help each other. I know my first year working at a different university, which I'll talk about in a second, something that I really like to do was attend and connect with other people who were newer because it just helped me learn more about the profession and what I really liked and what I wanted to gain out of it. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and share my screen and I'll play that from the beginning. Gabby, can you see everything?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So welcome. This is our beautiful title page here. All right, so we kind of did introductions, but we can go ahead again and tell you a little bit of our background so you guys understand us and the paths we've taken. Like Gabby said, she's only been here for 10 months, but she has a wealth of experience and she's teaching me new things every day. But I'm Stella, like I said, I'm from New Jersey originally. I went to Rutgers University, and so I started out in admissions and my path in higher ed at the University of Delaware. So if anyone is here from the University of Delaware, hello. Love Blue Hens, love Delaware. And then I transitioned. I was there for about 2 years, and then I transitioned to Duquesne, where I've been for 3. So between those two places, I've definitely learned a lot. I've learned about exactly kind of what I like, and so excited to just share that more with you guys today.
Yeah, and I know I kind of touched upon my background as well, but to kind of dig a little bit deeper, I graduated from St. Vincent College in Latrobe. It's where the Steelers have their training camp. Go Steelers! That's how most people know the institution, since it is a small college. My senior year of college, I was looking for an on-campus job, and my suite mate said, "Hey, I'm working with a lot of data in the admissions office. They need somebody to help with filing, really just some administrative work. Would you want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great. Maybe 10 hours a week." And then that was kind of the extent during my college years. And then a couple years afterwards, some positions opened at Chatham University, which is also in Pittsburgh. And I ended up getting a job there in 2012. So I was at Chatham for about 7 years, first as the admissions counselor, then as the assistant director of admissions. The last 3 years at Chatham, I worked specifically with the transfer population. At Chatham, the transfer population was about 33, about 1/3 of the incoming class. So it was a pretty heavy job. And now at Duquesne, like I said, I've been here since September, early September. I now work with the traditional freshman class and transfers when needed. So kind of juggling a few hats there, and loving it so far. So let's get started.
Awesome. All right, so we do have just a couple of poll questions that we want to ask you just to get a feel for who is out there. So there are 4 questions. Just go ahead and fill them out, and then we'll just kind of share results really quickly.
Yeah, I kind of want to mention, you know, a lot of you, you're probably new to the profession, obviously, hence the title of this PowerPoint. But you don't necessarily need to be new in the industry to attend this type of session. This information is always relevant, no matter how long you have been in the admissions world. So we just kind of like to get a feel for it, see how seasoned or new, newbies and rookies that some of you are, just so we can kind of gear the conversation toward all of you.
Absolutely. So you have like half people who have filled it out, and you don't have to, but this is just kind of like Gabby said, for us to get to know you. And it seems like we actually have like a pretty good split of people so far. So some people, this has been less than a year, so welcome to higher education and admissions. But we also do have people here who maybe are on the high school counseling side. So, you know, welcome, and you know, hopefully we can provide some useful information as to what we're thinking of and newer admissions counselors are thinking about and talking about right now. You know, some of you are from a public institution, some of you are from private. And I know we're all here because we love working with students. That's probably the number one thing. But happy to know that you guys just have a variety of interests that you like, and hopefully we can help you with honing in on some of those and what you could do with that. So I think we're good. We can end the poll. Thanks, Matt, he's our background guy today, and he's
shout out to Matt.
Thank you. All right, awesome. So I will probably move on. I'm sorry, I'm gonna exit out of this poll here. All right, so we, you know, don't have to take your mics off or anything like that, but Gabby and I want to make sure that, you know, throughout this session, we're kind of talking about things that are really relevant to you. If you want to take some time, like in the chat, or just even like unmute for a second, like, is there anything you really are hoping to talk about, hoping to gain throughout this session? We have a variety of topics already listed, but if there is something that you want to dive deeper into, we'd love to hear it. I'd love to read it in the chat.
Yeah, and I always like to say, if you haven't heard this expression at PACAC or just being in admissions generally, you might start to hear it more and more. Admissions is a type of job where you're either in it for 3 years or 30. There's no in between. You're either in it or you're not, essentially. So for those of you who are newer to the profession, you're kind of getting your feet wet, and you're kind of thinking, you know, is this for me? Is this something that I can see myself in 20, 30, 40 years? Because some of you are probably fresh out of college down the road. So we know there are lots of moving pieces. We know this industry is constantly changing. So just kind of something to think about, and know that you're not alone. We've all been there at one point or another, and these are normal questions to kind of ask yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to learn. I would have people at other institutions kind of joke like about how they kind of fell into it. But there are so many skills in it that I think that we all, common interests that we all share that can help us really push through in the process. And for the people who are brand new, we can definitely talk a little bit about, what next year might look like. I know you guys have, everyone's been affected in some way by COVID, and I know that if you are eager to get back out there on a travel season, that might not be what's going to happen. So we can definitely talk about other ways to still stay connected and everything. All right, so I'm just gonna read a question, Gabby, just so that we can
Sure.
maybe move the conversation there. So hi, Lauren. You are a younger hired professional. You started in breast life and moved to admissions. So do you have any advice for individuals that have transitioned from one department to another? And Gabrielle is just hoping to learn how to advocate for herself as a rookie in the office without coming across too eager and jumping on every project. Definitely can relate, definitely can talk a little bit more about that as we go on. So Gabrielle, you'll get your question answered for sure. Gabby, anything to add maybe for Gabriella or for Lauren?
Yeah, so Lauren, I'm not sure if you stayed at the same institution as far, within the departments, but, personally, I love it when people from other departments switch to admissions within the institution, because you kind of have two areas of expertise now. Admissions really is, I don't want to say the word general, but you really talk about everything from A to Z. So having that wealth of knowledge, even if it's not admissions related, is such a huge bonus, because you have talking points that kind of go below the surface. You can tell students stories. I'm sure as residents life, students more than just their name. You know a whole lot about certain residents, and you can share that with prospective students. So you really have that big benefit there that traditionally admissions counselors without that background don't have. So I would say, keep an open mind. I know it can be frustrating. Sometimes you might get some type of reaction or conflict that might arise. But yeah, like Stella said, we're going to kind of touch on a whole bunch of situations that might come up, or some hurdles that you might have to overcome. And, hopefully afterward, if we still have some time, we can kind of elaborate on that too.
Awesome. All right. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about challenges that arise in the industry, depending on the type of institution, and they can be a variety of factors, especially as we move into this year. Gabby, do you want to talk a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so a lot of this might come across as common sense, but I do think it's important to touch on it, because it's very easy for a new admissions counselor to lose their motivation. I mean, in the fall, you're burned out. Winter, springtime's financial aid season. It's a cyclical profession. So, when something kind of hits and wears off, you're kind of hit with another type of project or task that you will be working on. So absolutely, it's very, very easy to lose motivation. But, some things I want to make sure to keep in mind, that let's say that something comes up and you used to say, well, I've worked my butt off. I've done everything I can. I just want to make sure that I appreciated and rewarded appropriately, which absolutely, why wouldn't you think that? So these are just kind of reminders, again, with the common sense. So a lot of it does depend on the type of institution. It looks like the majority of you are coming from private schools. The funding from private schools is obviously going to be different than funding from public schools. So money might not be as available as you may think, as far as getting promotions or getting a raise. A lot of schools have their fiscal year start over again in the summer. So again, all of these factors kind of go into play with that. So my word of advice is to keep on trekking. It definitely doesn't, it only can benefit you to keep working hard, and, kind of take into consideration the factors that kind of go into play in addition to kind of the obvious. Hierarchy is something as well. Some directors, supervisors, you may think that they have the power to do anything that they want as much as they want to. That might not necessarily be the case. Again, this could be because of the type of institution where you're currently employed. There are a lot of times where supervisors, want to do something. They want to give you that bonus. They want to give you that promotion. They want to reward you in some way financially, but they just simply don't have the resources or the ability to do that. Another hurdle that can occur in higher ed admissions is longevity. So we have seen in cases where an office has low turnover, where people have been in that office for 20, 30 years. And because of that, they're very experienced, they're very knowledgeable, and there's simply lack of room to move, literally, because of the longevity within the office. Longevity could be a good thing, but it could also have some downfalls, kind of like the ones I just mentioned. Admissions also has a reputation of having high turnover, so that last bullet point that I mentioned might not even be applicable to your office. Some of you might even be chuckling at me using that as an actual bullet point. But again, this depends on the institution. This depends on the type of office, the dynamics, so many things that go into play there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Gabby. And again, right, like this is also different, and we've both been in institutions, I think, where one is one way and one is the complete opposite, but we're able to navigate through that and rise above these challenges or find ways to make them work for ourselves as professionals in admissions and in higher ed. So we asked you in the beginning, like, what do you like to do? And one thing I think when I went into my first admissions job was I just made this list of my job responsibilities and what I do. And I said, like, what do I like? You're doing so many things every day, whether it be fall season and you are, coordinating your high school visits and going to panels at night and college fairs, and trying to figure that out, especially if you're new and you're hired around the fall. I mean, you were in your office for 2 days and now you're back, you're on the road. Like, how do you do that? And then when you come back, you're giving presentations. You might be working with students, not just high school students, but if you have an ambassador group that works with you, maybe you have to do that and organize their schedules and everything. And then on top of that, you may also be reading applications, using a tool that you've never used, whatever, college or CRM that you guys have, and navigating that and maybe looking at data and looking at, where you get apps from schools and, looking at admissions trends is something that's really valuable to you. And then of course, with all of these different things you're doing, you're practicing your customer service skills in some way. So I really figured out, early on, like, what do I really like from the job and what's going to be beneficial to me? Where do I see ourselves? Because maybe in your office, at least I know this is very true in mine, I can really see a lot of strengths from a lot of my different coworkers. And one might be, I always rely on this person if I need help with technology and using our CRM to do something that I need for a project, or I'll really always talk to this person if I know that they have excellent customer service skills and I want to be able to deliver my messages in a certain way. So learn from others, capitalize on that. I definitely have taken an affinity to student affairs. I work with our admissions ambassadors at Duquesne, and I love it. I love event coordination. I work with our counselor tours. We brought in counselors everywhere from Puerto Rico, with counselors coming in from Detroit. I love doing that. I love working with my campus partners. And that's really the field that, where it's taking me. But it took me a long time to kind of figure that out. And what I love about higher ed is that you do have a multitude of different strengths and different avenues. But learn, early on what you like to do. And we'll talk about, ways to even improve based on these skills in a few slides. Anything to add, Gabby?
No, you really kind of touched on a little bit of everything. No, that was great.
All right. I think we just have a question in the chat, so I will answer it. How do you balance travel and working with your ambassadors? I don't know. I do it. It's tough. It's tough, especially in the fall. And what I really try to do is host a big all-day training with our ambassadors, especially as we have new people come in, and get to know them all. I keep up with them through group chats. I also do have a co-supervisor in the office who doesn't travel, so that makes it a lot easier to still keep it on the day-to-day. Lately, and with everything this fall, I really don't think I'll be traveling as much, but luckily I have a great team behind me that helps me keep in date. And what I do in the fall too is I kind of come up with different strategies and things I'd like to implement. So if I know I want this campus partner to talk to my ambassadors, I do all the research and the coordination while I'm at my hotel or at the, before the college fair, so that when things come to campus, I have like my ducks in a row and ready to go. It's challenging, and it is a hurdle sometimes, but find the right partners, divide your time wisely, keep in touch. We use GroupMe and everything, so I am in constant contact. Of course, they still know that I'm not there, but it's easier so that it's a smoother transition when I come back. Oops. Okay, so Gabrielle actually asked a question at the beginning about, trying not to like jump on every opportunity, but how do you navigate, wanting to work on projects? That was so me at the beginning of my career. I went in, and like Gabby said, there's a lot of longevity in the office, and people kind of hold certain things, whether it be, big yield events, or, I always coordinate the travel or something like that. And things that I was interested in, but I might not necessarily want to step on anyone's toes or something like that. And so what I did, and your office might just do this as a new person, but I individually reached out to not just those certain coworkers, but all of them, and said, hey, I know we're so busy, but would you mind even doing like we could go to lunch, or, we could do like a working lunch. I could just come to your office and maybe for a half hour, just talk about your experiences, and, ways that, I can learn from you. People like to talk about what they do and what they've done for a really long time. And I found that so beneficial, as I was able to kind of just talk to people and have it kind of be on their ground, and learn. And then, you start to build that connection, you start to build, that camaraderie in the office. And then before you know it, if there's something available for you to do or some assistance, you can start working on big yield events, or you can start working behind the scenes on travel or whatever that you'd like to do. So take that time, take that initiative to reach out to people, on your own, because people are just busy. And if you have more time, especially at the beginning coming into the office, learn from them. The thing with admissions is that it's also an ever-changing game in the way we do things. People have said like, oh, we used to read apps one way and now we're reading apps another way. So, they have such a wealth of experience, but you also have something to contribute, and that's why you're there. Gabby, anything else to add?
Yeah, just so Stella, you hit the nail right on the head, but kind of a small little detail I want to add to that. Absolutely, I literally quote everything Stella says, but want to add that reach out to other departments as well. So even if you don't directly work with them on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, it's good to establish connections within your institution, because as admissions, kind of like what I said earlier, you might need them at one point or another within the process. To kind of give you an example, I ended up working with a counselor from our Center of Global Engagement, like the study abroad office, and she wanted to come along to a fair to talk about international students and admissions and whatnot. I make sure that, pre-COVID, we used to get lunch maybe once every 2 months just to check in, just to see how things are going, work-related, not work-related. And she introduced me to her director, who he lives like right down the road from me. So it's good to make these connections, even if they don't necessarily directly help you out immediately. But it's always good to network, to make sure your name is known out there. Admissions is always a starting point for some people. So even if a department's, my son's nephew, my son's friend's nephew has a question about Duquesne, they'll reach out to you. It's just always good to kind of get your name out there.
Awesome. And Gabby, we have a question. Maybe you could lend your insight on this too. From Mary Rose, I hope I said that correctly. What suggestions do you have if there are limited opportunities for growth within your office? For example, a smaller office with senior staff not likely to transition.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's very common. That's a very common hurdle. I don't want to necessarily call it a hurdle because it's not something that, that is necessarily a bad thing. But to kind of go off of what I said, if you, I'm trying to think of another example. I had our city of Pittsburgh territory at my previous institution. And while, yes, it was a very large population, I decided to work with nonprofits in the area who helped city kids as far as tutoring, as far as college knowledge, as far as really any type of mentorship program. So if you have a type of territory that has those types of organizations or resources, reach out, be a contact for those organizations. Maybe one evening come and bring some cookies and just talk about college in general. I can't tell you how many times I've given general presentations on college, not necessarily to the institution I was representing. It shows that not only do you care about your actual territory and your students, but you care for the future of it as well. You want to make those established relationships. With that as well, and we're kind of going to talk about this later in the presentation, but establishing relationships with counselors in the high schools. If you're a traditional first year admissions counselor, you will be surprised what a small conversation will do to a counselor and how easily they will remember you. It's something that they really appreciate, because how many reps, I kind of think of it as like a doctor's office, how many reps come in and give them free stuff and, try to woo them over with your swag. But when you have that personality and, able to have a conversation, able to ask questions about the institution that they work for, the school that they work for, it will really make a big difference. So this isn't a quick fix, but in the long run, you will see of how much you have built yourself up. And, it will, again, word gets around. Who knows, maybe the one of the deans, their relative heard a word and they said something to them and like, hey, I heard, one of your counselors did this. This is awesome. It's always good to be constantly doing that.
And just to add to that really quickly, I used to think that there was a very traditional roadmap in admissions of this is what we do and this is always the cycle. And what I've learned throughout my time and being at different institutions too, is that there are always new things and new opportunities to capitalize on that might not just be so direct. I think there's always other things that you can, and other challenges you can embark on to bring to your office. Most of us are right in admissions, and we're always thinking of like, what's this new idea? How can we connect to more students? How can we connect to more counselors? So I encourage you to think outside the box and look for new opportunities to network, to connect with other people, and also, have an honest conversation with somebody that you maybe trust in the office about what your goals are. That's helped me so many times where I think I've gotten so stressed out, and sometimes I think, it's not always everyone against me. I have allies and I have people that want me to succeed and just being like, this is what I'm really interested in. And I really want opportunities here. Or I'd really like to, I know about this professional organization and we'll talk about those in a few minutes. And I want to, see where this goes with being on this committee or helping out more there. And as you do things like that, you become more involved and within your own office and outside of your office. So, sometimes it's not always like a straight answer, but think outside the box and do what you can. And remember that, you'll always have an ally somewhere. And I've definitely learned that in the field of higher ed, whether it be people from other schools, people in my office, people want to help. So hopefully that helps and answers your question in some way. We'd be happy to discuss more after too. I'll move on. Okay, so these are just 3 different types of things based on what you had said earlier, that Gabby and I, when we were talking, we thought yes, there are so many resources and different pathways out there. I'm not saying that you have to go into any of these, into these organizations, but it could be something good to look at. You know, like I said, I am very interested personally in the visitor relations aspect of higher ed, event management. That's really like my bread and butter and like what I love to do. This year I've joined CIVSA, so they are the Visitor Services Association. Some of you might be part of that, and if you are, please, you know, connect with me. I love to meet more people from the organization. I would have been down in Florida for their conference, but unfortunately due to COVID, you know, the conference planning committee couldn't do much once it was canceled. But it's such a great way to meet people and learn about what other institutions are doing in terms of how they're bringing people onto campus and what they're doing with their student ambassadors. So talk to your supervisors or talk to anybody about this. I brought this to Duquesne and I'm really happy I did. And we just renewed our membership and I hope to stay committed on the planning committee that they have. And I've already met so many new people. They've done everything from different book clubs to, you know, we had like a virtual happy hour and I'd never met these people in person, but I feel like I have a network. If you really love the travel aspect of your job and you like meeting people out on the road, you know, there are people who do this internationally. I'm sure your office has an international office. That could be a pathway that you might be interested in. I know many people who have started in domestic undergraduate admissions who have moved internationally and vice versa, and they like it. A lot of colleges have regional positions. So if you love to travel and you want to be in a certain location, a lot of schools are opening up regional positions as well. And then, you know, technology, data analytics, a lot of people in my office, you know, will go to Slate Summit or be involved in Slate in some capacity or the other. And it's so helpful for us as an office. And there's also campus management that you could look into as well. Gabby, anything to add on these different things?
Yeah, so a lot of these are like national conventions or associations, which is awesome. But you can even look to local opportunities as well. As a transfer counselor in the past, I attended Pennsylvania. PA has a transfer conference every year. It's usually out east, Eastern PA. And it was 1 day, 2 days a year. And I learned so much just from that conference alone that, you know, I felt like a new expert in what I was doing because it was so effective. And I also met people I've never met before within the state because, as you guys know, the strategic planning of travel within Pennsylvania is all over the map. So there were some people I've never met, but then there were some people that I've known for years. So it's always helpful to do that as well. And you guys are already doing this with a great start with PACAC. We are, you know, there are so many members within PACAC. If you guys aren't members, you know, see if you can get permission to become a member. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization.
Awesome. Thanks, Gabby. All right. So we kind of already maybe touched upon this. You know, Gabby said, join professional organizations, you know, right away. I know for CIVSA, they do have a mentorship program and some other, you know, organizations that have something similar. So I wasn't part of the CIVSA one, but I know that, you know, they were looking for people to be mentors and mentees. So if you had maybe less than 2 years of experience in higher ed, you could get paired with somebody from a different university that had maybe, you know, more than 3 or 4 years of experience. So that's another connection, you know, right away. And they will, you know, constantly be in contact with you just to make sure you're, you know, following your own goals. Sometimes within the realm of admissions, you're so go, 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 go. You have to take time to step back and be like, okay, like, what are my goals for myself? What do I want out of this? Get involved in committees. Like I said, I was part of the CIVSA planning committee, and it's just such a great way to meet people, such a great way to know people from other universities too, and the way that they do things in their admissions processes and their visitor services experience, things like, oh, I would have never thought to do something like that. And so that's really, really helpful too. And, you know, we're just always here to network, learn more about what other people do too. And what might be really helpful for this fall, I know that by this time we probably would have all had like our, you know, Google Maps open and getting ready to plan our fall travel season, which looks like that might not be an option maybe for the fall or very limited. certain Facebook groups are open for certain regions. I'm part of the New Jersey one because I travel to New Jersey, and it is always full of the best information everywhere from does this college fair have food to what or like places to go when you're in your downtime, that you're not always at Panera Bread or something. So this year will obviously be a little bit different because it won't be all travel related. However, I know that they still keep up with each other on virtual happy hours and just sharing information. And Pennsylvania has one as well. So if you're not part of it, please go and join. You don't have to, constantly be commenting on everything, but just learn, and it gets you connected with other people too. And I'll let Gabby talk a little bit more about this, but also I know you wanted the webinars one was one point that you definitely had.
Yeah, so a lot of webinars now more than ever, of course, are being offered, and some of them are offered for free. Some are offered at a low cost. So it's a very inexpensive way for you to network without leaving your chair. Something very similar to what we're doing right now. We're all I see all these names here and I'm like, oh, I hope I meet, Mary Rose and Gabriella on the road sometime soon. So if I hope a lot of times we get these invitations to webinars and we kind of shrug them off because we get so many and you might think they're not applicable, but take a look at those emails. Again, if you help manage your general email address for admissions at your institution, just take a look at them. And if you think it's something worth bringing it up to your director and say, hey, I'm interested in attending this, take some notes and then report back what you've learned. That's always something that's very, very helpful. Something else I want to add is if you're kind of unsure, obviously these are a great list we have here, but you could always ask the high school counselors too about organizations locally of where you can get involved. Some high schools even have their own advisory council where they have community members. Some of them are working professionals, some are work on the college side, some are parents of students at these schools, some are work at the tech school that is paired up with the high school. So things like that to get involved, just kind of start that conversation there and you will be really pleasantly surprised at the many opportunities you could take a part of.
All right, so we just had, I want to definitely be very conscious of the time to make sure, if you guys are going to other things. So still have a couple of minutes. You don't have to, you feel free to share if you'd like, but in the chat or either my meeting, just things that you've enjoyed. I know Gabby and I've already taken it by talking to you guys all about what we've liked about the profession and advice. We're going to actually give you guys a Google Sheet in the next maybe 1 or 2 slides, just like a free form to share your information. So if you do actually have any advice that you don't want to share right now, but maybe want to on the Google or Google Sheet, feel free to do so. But we do have somebody in the chat, so thanks for. Oh, that's Gabby.
This is me.
I was like, is someone sharing? So actually, yeah. So I'm going to show you the Google Sheet that we have. It's very simple. Don't be or anything like that. But we thought since you guys are new and want to make connections or anything like that, that we offer you an opportunity to do so. So Gabby and I have our information here. We have kind of what we do in the office, but then also just something fun. She likes Golden Girls and Cats. I like reading and rewatching The Office. So please, if you'd like to share your information, feel free. So you guys have a master list of people who might be newer that you might want to connect with in the future. And then, Gabby and I can make sure that we share a lot of information with you all, anything that we stumble upon that might be really useful and relevant to you. Anything you want to add about that, Gabby?
Yeah, honestly, this is just kind of like our virtual business card. It's even better because you won't lose it in the bottom of your travel bag. It'll all be electronically available to you. And we sincerely mean that. This is really an industry where you do make these connections. They are genuine connections. And, have you ever heard of that saying where it's like, oh, I have this friend and we have the kind of friendship where we don't talk for a couple years, but when we see each other next, it's like we never stop talking. It's kind of like that in the world of admissions because, it is a world and we're all very familiar with it. And we're all here to help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when Gabby got hired, it was like already like 3 people in the office knew who she was already. So you definitely build a network and know people, even though you don't see them every day. You get closer to some people that you meet just in other places, maybe than even your own coworkers sometimes. So please, we'd love to stay connected with you. We'd love to share resources with you, and we'd love for you to just connect with other people, because who knows, maybe you might be seeing them later on and you can say you went to this PACAC session. All right, well, that's kind of all we have for you. We hope that in some way you've gained something out of it. Gabby and I have our information on that sheet, though, and I know it's probably on the PACAC site somewhere. So if you have any questions for us or want to even set up a Zoom just to like talk or something like that, we'd be more than happy to do so, as we all are working in our virtual offices. So we can take any questions. Gabby, any like last minute things to add?
Just want to say again, thank you for coming, and this is a really fun job. So it's definitely not for everybody, but it brings out many strengths of counselors, and you have a very wide toolbox, and it's good to use the tools within your toolbox. So don't ever be shy, and if you are nervous about something, chances are you may be overlooking it, to be honest. So it's never a bad idea to ask questions, and asking questions is a good thing. It shows that you care. It shows that you like results. It shows that you are really in it to win it.
Wonderful. That's a great way to close it. Thank you guys. We'll be hanging around. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you're going to another PACAC thing, and enjoy that. Please feel free to contact us. And yeah, have a good rest of your week, guys. Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Gabby and Stella, I'll allow you guys to be co-hosts still. So I'm going to leave, but you guys can hang around and talk as much as you like.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
And if anyone here has any like questions for us, or just impressed,
we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, just feel free to ask your questions, or just say hi. Do you guys have any? Oh wait, hold on. Maybe I have something in the chat. Oh, you're welcome. Hopefully somebody got something out of it. Oh, wonderful. We hope we can connect with you too, Teresa.
Thanks,
Thank
Teresa.
you for coming. Appreciate it. Do you guys have any questions for us, or anything you guys wanted to know before we hop off? Just don't want to like leave you hanging or anything. All right.
Whoops.
Well, if you guys do have any questions, we have our email addresses, so feel free to, just contact us or Zoom us or whatever, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. I just put them in the waiting room.
Yeah.
I didn't know why they
were. I was like, wait.
I was like, well, let me just hang out, but thank you so much. I was a smaller crowd. I'm actually looking at the Google Doc. We have, actually like 2 people. Okay, that's nice. we'll see how that goes. I didn't really want to say like we'll connect you guys. Could like I don't know. We had I had 12, but actually I think it went up to like 17 at some
I think
point.
it did. Yeah. Yeah, I think at one point there was maybe 17 or 18 total with you, me, and Matt.
Oh, so maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah, but still,
yeah.
I think it was a good size.
Yeah, I thought it went really well actually. Like the session.
Too. I do too. They were engaging. I mean, a lot of questions from the start.
I hope that they got something out of it. Like I knew that there was a survey, but I guess I kind of forgot about it until this morning when I read the thing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, like at the New Jersey one, people kind of were saying that like they didn't feel like they got as much out of the session. But I think that we were very honest and realistic by saying like, this is the point of this is to gain tips to like further yourself. So like there's no right or wrong. Like we're not talking about like admissions statistics.
The answers. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like we're just trying to help. Debbie was there. I don't know if you saw her.
I did.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, I would have totally gone to the COVID one or the one about doing campus tours like online, but I don't know. I guess she's just trying to like, Tyler was like, I think she just wanted it to make it feel like if she was there, like it was like an honor that like she would like go to your session or something.
Yeah, or like a support thing.
Right. And I was like, okay, like honestly, I don't care. Like I'm not bummed about it, but I just thought it was so funny how she was there again. Yeah, but thank you. Oh my gosh, you had so much great info.
Oh my gosh. So did you. It was great. I think.
I hoped that people. Did you know anyone actually that was coming?
No.
Like, okay.
I didn't know any of the names. Well, did you see LaRoche was there?
I did.
But it just said admission. I didn't know the girl though, because she had her webcam on.
That was okay. I was like, who is that? So
yeah.
Well, you know, it looks like there are two people. One from Delaware Valley, and then one from Fairmont State. Oh, so that's West Virginia. I mean, if anything, we just gained 2 more connections, you know?
Absolutely.
So,
do we get the results of the survey? How does that work?
I don't know. I guess we could email Candace and Teresa about it. Not Teresa, Candace and Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sure they share that with us later on. But I don't know.
In person, we were responsible for giving them back.
Oh,
and then when everyone left, we just read them all.
Oh, see, like, and I hope that they fill them out soon because I want it fresh in their mind.
Yeah, it should. Like, you would think there was like a way for it to pop up when it was done. Oh, by the way, the poll feature was so cool. It was great.
The whole what?
The poll.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we were able to use it. So
it was really good. Yeah.
Matt was like, I've never used it before, and I'm like, oh, okay, honestly, whatever.
Yeah, it was good.
So, no, I think it was perfect. I mean, like, again, we had a kind of a different topic because we weren't talking about like ABC on results. We were just talking like experience. It was more of like it should have been more of a round table. And the fact that it was virtual didn't help us.
It made it hard. I mean, I think, you know, just from judging from the data from the poll, like the majority of them are new.
Right, which is good.
And they're just looking to hear, you know, beyond what they hear in their own office. Like, I think we gave them good info.
I hope so. I mean, I just hope that somebody got something out of it because I don't think they can really say they could say it was a bad session if we really didn't give them what they wanted, but it was really just supposed to be for them. It's not really supposed to be for, like, again, like this is the best practices that work for everyone. It's just different.
Right.
So, and I think that's probably why they chose it because I actually put in 3 PACAC proposals and they rejected the one I did about, I think it was like about campus visits. So they liked this one a lot. So, and then they paired me up with Barry because they were like, you guys have similar things that you want to talk about. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But thank you. Oh my gosh. Like I'm so glad that you said yes because I would have been so nervous.
Thanks for thinking of me. I always enjoy doing it. And I think it's, you know, again, a good way to kind of network and get your name out there. It's always fun.
Yeah, and if we were at a conference, like we could have definitely like gone to dinner or something, you know, like with other people or something like that. We would have had like, you know, because I'm sure Joe and Jeff would have also been there, so it would have been fun. But yeah, I always think in my head, like, I just don't have anything that's worth listening to. But then I guess as I present, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I've been at this like total like 5 years. Like I have something for you.
Exactly.
So like I've got some things that I can talk about. Like forgot like some of these kids are probably student like people 22. Are probably fresh. Yeah. Fresh so school. Yeah. But anyway, thank you.
No, thank you. This was so fun. I mean, it's over.
Yes. So I know. I can get into pajamas again. So
I know. I'm like, oh, I can take this necklace off.
Yeah. But I'm sure Debbie will have us talk about this tomorrow. So just I'd be prepared for that. Oh gosh. Well, thank you. Have a good night. All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.